welcome to the Contagion Effect Show with your hosts, Mike Ellick and Eric Mello.
Yeah.
How to do?
Another day.
Get it done, bud.
What up, Eric?
Michael, how are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to have you back in studio.
Oh, man.
Back in the studio, getting better, right?
Yeah, we're getting better. We're
getting
like
better.
a 90-ish. We're like a strong 85, 90-ish.
Yeah, for work, they expect you to be at 100, and you already had to start working last night.
We just got to get the groceries out, I guess.
Yeah, late night, and then I had to get you up early over here this morning so we could record our awesome guest for today.
Dude, I'm telling you, if you guys don't share anything with anybody that you know, please go share this next one. The one that's going to drop, as they say, tomorrow.
Yes. This is the show.
I say it like every time we do it.
Well,
it's epic.
It is true every time.
It's just fun. I can listen to myself talk, which is funny because sometimes I just listen to myself talk to talk. But this is pretty awesome. Nino Gray works with the Seattle Seahawks. I know. We did do a teaser. We dropped who we were having this week.
Yes,
on our
I think
Instagram.
we're going to do that more. I like that
for sure. Well, we have to. I mean, it only helps everything out, and growing the business, as they say.
It's not an opportunity for people to pick and choose who they want to listen to. I think you have to hear what everybody has to say because the points of view, the story, the life that each one of these people lives is so different yet amazing. I mean,
I think that's what we're trying to do is bring, different culture. There's a bottom line to it. There's a message. There's the same message on everything, but it just shows that everyone goes through it a different way.
Oh, I agree. That's the other thing I'm going to have to get. So besides the burner phone, I need to get a stands.
We can work or not.
Yeah, but I have a guy. So
you got a guy?
I got a guy. So we got to talk about that after. So, we talked about you were out with COVID and you're getting better almost.
Yeah.
So I have an interesting story for the weekend, leading into the weekend and the weekend.
Congratulations.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a new grandbaby born this weekend.
Yay.
Yep. Jaxson James.
JJ Ellick?
JJ. I don't think he's going to be called JJ. I think he's going to be called Jax.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think they're going with Jax.
So yay for that.
Funny thing is as everybody knows, the COVID and Omicron variant, man, don't show all that stuff.
It's all good. It looks beautiful.
Well, the wine rack does.
That shows.
Anyways, leading into the birth on Saturday, found out my daughter-in-law tested positive for COVID. Found out from her doctor that they've actually delivered more babies in the last 30 days to COVID positive moms than COVID negative moms.
Unreal.
Unreal. It gets better though. It gets better. So Jackson's born on Saturday morning, around 10 or 11, and they do a COVID test on the baby. He's negative.
Wait.
So mom was positive.
Mom's positive.
Baby
who had the baby inside mom.
Yes, and she had a C-section.
And then she has the baby.
Yep, and he comes out.
And he comes out negative.
Yes.
A positive plus a positive equals negative. Literally.
Cody,
literally.
What's funny is nobody showing any signs, any
asymptomatic.
Symptom. Yep, asymptomatic. Katie was asymptomatic, and then Cody was asymptomatic, and Jaxson, and I don't think Cade's been sick. He hasn't, which is our other grandson, and now Cody is actually sick. So throwing a little wrench in, the first couple days of the new baby
being born.
Yeah, but still was really caught up on the whole fact that my daughter-in-law was negative or positive, and the baby comes out and it's negative. And they do a test right after it's born, and then they do another test right before they came home. So, and and Jaxson was still negative. So, and he is doing awesome. He's a little cutie. I already did some Snapchat filters with him.
Did you make him an old man?
No, I made him an old. He already looks like a little old man.
Really? They do when they come out.
They do. They do. No, I did like the king and some other stuff.
Okay, okay.
But what were the
stats?
So he was 7 pounds exactly.
Okay.
19 and a quarter inches.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And born Saturday. Don't ask me anything else. I mean,
no,
Jamie would know it all.
I mean,
I'm a grandpa. I'm not supposed to know all that stuff.
But you do, so that's what's cool about it, though.
But we did have fun. We got to watch kids Sunday and Monday, and that was a blast.
And that's a big step too.
Oh, that was a huge step because he's a COVID baby. He's the beginning of COVID since he was born in June of 2020, and he's come over, but he hasn't got to spend the night or anything like that. So we finally got him.
Is that the first spend the nighter?
That was the first overnighter. And of course, all day he's great. We lay him down, he goes to sleep, and then we go to bed and we hear him coughing. And we're like, so then the stress starts because we're like, oh great. And it's just a regular old cough, like nothing like croupy or anything, but it still started. Like Jamie and I looked at each other and go, oh, it's going to be a long night. So then I think we both just laid there like listening for like another hour, and then he didn't cough anymore. So we're okay.
Got all right. Bottle of Jack up there.
Yeah, as if we didn't have any other we didn't have 4 other kids.
Yeah,
but grandparents, your first night.
You don't know how to grandparent.
No,
it's different than parenting.
No, you're supposed to just give them sugar and hand them back, right? Isn't that how it works? Get them wound up, hand them back.
Absolutely.
I mean, he did get a cookie with frosting and took off, and then.
Oh, boy. This is recording, right?
It is.
Like,
No, but they know. I mean,
okay.
Katie knows, Cody knows, because the first pictures of Cade if you look, Cade with Jaxson, the first pictures from Monday, Cade has green frosting
all over.
all over. Yeah.
We are live on Instagram with the Snapseed _trucker and Contagion effect. Benji,
I love COVID
Benji's legit.
He's gonna be legit.
Superpowers.
I'm gonna tell my son that. Like he's gonna love that.
Yeah.
COVID babies have superpowers.
That's awesome. Yeah.
They're gonna be the new X-Men.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I should just watch one of those then.
So you probably should. Cody. Since Cody's on baby bonding, their goal while he's on baby bonding is to watch every Avenger movie.
Oh,
like every Marvel movie.
Like 10?
No, there's way more.
Is it really? Oh, see, I don't even know.
Yeah. You got a couple of them with 3, and so that's what he's gonna do for his time off.
Bar Talk, what is up? What is up? We're just going a little live with our Contagion Effect show.
Yes,
I was watching Bar Talk 3G. They actually went live on. I knew it.
Now. Yep. Now you're gonna get in trouble.
What I do, I gotta take it.
Take it. Let's listen. Let's listen. Let her know you're on air. We should have connected the Bluetooth.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna disappear from the Instagram.
I'm sure she was. In the shower.
There you go.
Called.
Well, we're just doing more our intro, so it's not too much. But yeah, that's it was a great weekend for us.
We've talked about this before, and we've said how it's interesting to see that circle of life happening, and now that it's like times 2, now you have 2 grandkids.
Yep.
And it's like it just, it's getting better and better. It gets exciting.
And I'm
cool with waiting for a few more.
Oh, you got some time.
10 years or so, I'm good. But to see you go through it, I love it. It's great. So, Cody's a few years older than Brooklyn. So,
yes.
Yes. But it's all good.
It is. So, our guest, we talked about him. It's epic.
Nino Gray is just one of those dudes. And I think that, like, first of all, we're not going to have shitty guests.
No, that's right. That's definitely not the goal.
There will be times where we kind of struggle through interviews. I think we'll get better and better at it. But to have a personality with the high energy that he has it's great, man. Like,
it is.
He's just such a good dude.
Well, and he's got life to share and stories to share.
Yeah. And I think that's what we want to use this platform for.
And he's a real dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
enjoy today's show.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely enjoy it. Like, subscribe, share, send us messages. Good or bad, we'll take them all. Appreciate you guys. Go review us.
Oh, let's actually talk about that. Let's talk about our pages. We have a Facebook page, right?
We do.
Contagion Effect. So make sure you go like our Facebook page.
Instagram. Contagion _effect.
Yep. And then we even have a Twitter, which we're slowly getting on that. Yeah. And that's C_E__show. Because unfortunately they have a limit on characters. Contagion was taken. Yeah, it was. Trust me, I spent like 15
_E_show.
Yes. Unfortunately, Contagion was taken, and it was. I think I spent 20 minutes just trying to find something that would be close to our name.
Because I always kind of thought, like, I keep getting these emails, and I'm like, CE. I'm like, what?
What are these?
Like, did they abbreviate it?
Well, and you get all the stupid Twitter notifications, so I gotta.
That's all. No, don't change it. I enjoy it.
And then one other thing. So we're looking at creating some stickers and some T-shirts.
Yeah, we're gonna have. I don't want to call it merch, but yeah, like I said, I don't want to call it merch, but hey, I mean, basically, it's merchandise. I guess
it is
some shirts and some stickers. Gotta slap them all over everywhere.
Exactly.
I guess that's the thing. Share and stickers.
We'll put them right next to the Joe Biden stickers on all the gas pumps. I did that. I love. That's why I love going to Fruit Yard, because almost every pump has an I did that. And then you could tell some angry Karen
redneck
went and, no, not a rednecks would enjoy them all, but
they're the one that put them out there.
Exactly.
Karen ripped them off. So
Karen's ripping off the heads of Biden, or somebody else is ripping off the head of Biden. So it'll be interesting. Good all right. So we got to move on to our, we got a little message from our sponsor, and then move on to Nino.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, buddy. This is going to be a great interview, guys. Now for our sponsor, Tamara Polito with the Finance Group, where they're creating a future where everyone has access to the loan and home they love. Whether you're a veteran, law enforcement, a first-time home buyer, you're up or downsizing, or even if you need to just refinance, our community deserves proficiency and expertise. Better rates, faster close, welcome home. Tamara Polito, NMLS 1655776. Again, that's Tamara Polito, and her phone number is 209-204-3795. Again, 209-204-3795. Enjoy. What's going on, everybody? We now have our special guest for today. Eric, how you feeling about this?
This is pretty awesome. A dude that we met a while ago, and to watch not only the kids grow up, we've talked about this before, not only watching kids grow up and learning about certain things and seeing how the dynamics of a family works,
right,
and how it changes over time, but yet there's always the one constant that will be there for their whole entire life. I'm literally shaking just talking about it. It's just fun to watch people grow, is my bottom line on this. And to watch this guy, to see how he's progressed over the years, is freaking awesome.
Right.
And for him to be on the Contagion Effect,
dude,
epic,
better,
bro. It is better. So much fun.
Never, the years ago when we met him, never thought we'd be in this position.
Who's this random guy walking down the hill, bro?
Yeah.
Like, you gonna go handle that?
With the limp, big
yeah, like, what's this? Yeah. I mean, I'm like, well, I ain't taking him.
All right. So let's introduce him, because we could talk all day about him. I mean, but on the show today, we have the one, the only Nino Gray. So, Nino, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Hey, how you doing? Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Yeah, so we won't say where you work yet. We'll get into that whole conversation. But let's talk real quick on how Eric and I met you. So Eric was president. I was vice president of our Hughson Youth Football League, right? Back in the day.
That's what we were called, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were called. Yeah, we were Hughson Youth Football, huh? We didn't even have a name.
We were like we should have been the
Redskins.
The Hughson football team before it was the football team was cool,
Yeah, we should have.
Maybe we should file a lawsuit against the NFL for that.
Dan Snyder's got enough on his plate, I think.
Dude, just one check, bro. I just want one check that has his signature on the bottom of it. That'd be epic.
There's a lot of people with checks getting signatures from him right now. Anyways, so Nino came out one night, and we kind of we were always watching for people we didn't know, because we would have other teams come film our practices, things like that. So we went up and introduced ourselves, and man, we hit the jackpot in meeting a great guy and just learning about his life and the things he's been through, and actually why he ended up in Hughson. So
yeah.
Real quick, so how did you end up in Hughson, Nino? I mean, Hughson, for those of you that don't know, is, I mean, now it's a town of like 7,000, but I think when Nino was here, it was maybe 5,000.
Yeah, 47, 5,000.
Yeah, we were a tiny town. How did you end up in Hughson?
Area. I was in the military, and I got hurt overseas in Afghanistan. And during like the recovery process, there was this organization that, you know, they give service members, our Purple Heart veterans, homes, and kind of help them set up that next chapter of life. And they happen to give me one, and they're like, they have them all across the nation. They're like, where do you want to live? I'm like, I don't care. You're giving me a free home. You put me anywhere.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah.
And I mean, they did just that. They put me, you know what I mean, in Houston, and yeah, just, man, I mean, and Houston was significant for me because, man, that was like day one back out in gym pop. You know what I mean? Wow. Like you're in general population now. You got to learn. Like you're not, you know, quote unquote on the yard no more. You know
I didn't know that. So, I didn't know we were.
You got to cut your grass and put the garbage cans out weekly.
Yeah,
you know,
man,
make the grocery run.
Yeah, you know, I think it had an HOA. I wasn't sure, couldn't remember, but like, you know, it was crazy things, you know. But I was like, yeah. So it was such a new dynamic for me.
Right. Yeah, I didn't realize we were your first stop, like right after everything.
Yeah. It was the first place I lived, first address, first place I moved, everything. Yeah.
Dude, I do have to tell one funny story from one of the nights, because after we met Nino the one time, he kind of became a staple at practice.
Yeah,
which was awesome. So, and at the time, your oldest son was what, 3 or 4? I mean, he was little.
Yeah, he was young. He was about 4. Yeah.
And I know you were chomping on the bit for him to play football, and it was awesome to see all that came to life, along with, you know, I know you have. So what are the ages of everybody now?
My oldest, Jaden, he's 12. My second oldest, my youngest son, Jordan, he's 8. And my daughter, she's 5.
Okay. All super cute kids, man. We're gonna share.
Man.
We're gonna share. Well, we've already shared some of.
I had to. I couldn't sit on that one.
And we'll talk about that in a little bit.
I had to get all my Northwest friends involved.
There you go. I actually have an old teammate that I told her she's gonna want to listen to the show today because of where you work and the things you do, and then I told her go Google you, and she got all excited. So, but I do want to I want to get to one quick story of football practice one night. So one night, all of a sudden, Nino comes riding up. Normally he walks over. This night he comes riding up on a Segway.
That Segway.
Yeah.
And so he's telling Eric and I, who, you know, we're not small guys. We're not small guys by any means. And trying to tell us how to ride this thing. I knew better. I'm prone to stupid stuff happening. Yeah. Eric gets on it, and I mean, you didn't ever fall, but it was definitely.
It took me for a ride.
It did take you.
It took me for a ride. I was not in control of it at all.
But that was probably one of my favorite times. Is you know that, and then just all the times you'd bring Jaden out and come and hang out with us, and you know watch practice and. That was awesome. That's why it makes it even more special to not only be talking to you now, but watching your life unfold on social media and see everything you talked about, what you wanted to do, you've straight up lived it. And that's just badass.
Oh man, I appreciate y'all. I mean, honestly, I loved the vibe when I was in Houston around you all. I mean, you guys coaching, and I just loved the energy that was there. And you know, I mean, you, as coaches, you guys were committed. So I definitely looked up to you guys in a lot of ways like that when I wanted to coach. So it was just a cool time out there. I definitely enjoyed you guys.
That's awesome. Well, that's what's led to this, right? So earlier you said, you know, you ended up in Houston due to an injury in the military. So real quick, what made you join the military? Now, I read your whole salute to service article.
You can't change your answers because we already know your whole.
Yeah, we already know.
Yeah, we already pre-interviewed this whole segment without you even knowing.
But we have listeners worldwide.
Yeah,
amazingly, you'd be amazed. We actually have listeners.
UK,
worldwide.
Absolutely,
Germany. So I mean, dude, they're all over. It's crazy.
So what made you join the military?
Man, yeah, it was honestly, it was just a way out of what I was living. It was a way out of, what life was like for me growing up, and I think sometimes, I want to go out there and tell you that it was just, it was pride of country and want to defend, you know what I mean?
Hey,
and
sometimes that's not the story.
Yeah, and of course, that plays a part. But I mean, honestly, when they told me, I'll get guaranteed food and a place to sleep at night. Oh man, hey, sold.
I don't have to pay for it. What?
Yeah, what? Like, you know what I mean? So, and so it was just, it was a way out. Honestly, it was an escape, and that's kind of what made me join the military.
So with that, I mean, there's different branches that you could have chose.
Yeah.
Was it specific? Like you chose your branch specifically for what? Like why did you choose that?
Well, at first, I want to say interviewed, but I don't even know if that's the right answer.
Yeah.
But I spoke with the Marine Corps, right?
Okay.
And they definitely, I was definitely intrigued by Marine Corps. I would definitely I love that mindset. I love that, that hard charger mentality. And I was pretty much sold until they told me I couldn't pick my job, right? And not being able to pick my job kind of like defeated for me because I didn't want to be that person in the military who was that hard charger, but I worked in the back somewhere.
I'll bust my ass for you, but let me get my end result somewhere.
Let me earn it. Let me earn what I want to do.
I wanted. I didn't grew up and watched, Full Metal Jacket and Saving Private Ryan and all these different movies. The only place I could imagine myself was on the front line somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so at the same time too, I wanted to be LAPD. So I even went over to the Army recruiter, talked to them, said you could pick your job or whatnot. All right. So I started looking at an MP. And then our military police, and then I had a buddy who was like, man, he was a cop. He was like, it's hard to retrain those guys for LAPD once they come from a military police officer environment. So I was like, okay.
Wow.
So I just went to the front line. I was just infantry, right? Just throw me on the front line and I'll figure this out as I went. And and so they let me pick the infantry in the Army, and sheesh, and I did 10 years of that.
That's so funny because we're actually going through this right now with Aiden. Is he wants to be, which now Aiden's 16, where I think he was 5 or 6 running around the field.
He was younger,
yeah, and he's got a full-on red beard. I'm sure you've seen pictures of him.
Oh man,
it's hard for me to call him a kid.
Yeah, he used to be Baby Ellick everywhere, but we're going through that with him right now because he wants to be police. He wants to join police force, but he wants to go to the military, and we're actually looking at Air Force is kind of the direction he wants to go. And now he's looking into dog handling. He wants to kind of get into that.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, my advice to anybody who wants to get in the military is like, whatever you do something that you're gonna enjoy doing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, don't go out there and be like, oh man, well they pay good to do this when you get out, because then your entire time in the military career, you're probably gonna hate what you're doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not gonna like it.
It's gonna be a job.
And find something you're gonna enjoy. Like the one thing I loved about the infantry is that no one day was the same. You know what I mean? It was consistently different. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that if he wants to be a cop and wants to get into dog handling, I think the military is your perfect route to do that, because you go in the military police, it can go that way. But
it's funny.
Always do your research, so
Yeah, they made the same exact comment though, because we had met with the Navy, and they made the same exact comment about how the MP doesn't necessarily transition over to like civilian police departments, right?
Yeah.
Because it's you have different rules you follow. And
I mean, you have to think military police, at least from when I was in the Army, they're out there patrolling these highways and everything You know what I mean? And they're getting hit by IEDs. They're doing this stuff too, to an extent.
Right.
So you take that mentality and now you throw it into some police force here locally. Yo, man,
somebody
I'm just saying.
Well, because I mean, in the Army, you have people trying to kill you. I mean, bottom line, right?
Sure.
Not necessarily for the police department. You still have, community and service. And
nowadays
you're trying to work
people kill
right. No, I get that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in the big picture, you're out trying to massage the community, I guess.
For sure.
Work with them,
Right.
Hey, so you said you were in for 10 years, right?
Yes.
When you first got out of boot camp, where did you go? Where did they send you?
Alaska.
Oh wow! And where was your?
You got a war going up there?
No. See, they were starting up a striker brigade. They had these new military vehicles called the Strikers, and they're pretty much tanks on wheels, right?
Okay.
So they're starting up this new striker brigade. So I go from California, and my first time ever on a plane was to Georgia in the middle of summertime.
Good.
And then I go from there, and then I go straight to Alaska.
80
where it got
degree,
like
85 degree, 10 degree.
Yeah,
-10.
Yeah, and we were in Fairbanks, so for like the winters, your winters are like -30. You know what I mean? -20.
22 hours of sunlight.
I mean,
Does it
that's
even?
in the summertime. In the wintertime, you're getting about maybe 4 hours of sunlight.
Oh wow!
So and then if it's cloudy that day, you're getting no hours of sunlight. Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
And how long were you in Alaska?
I was there for about 3 years.
Oh wow! Was that off and on? Like you would get sent anywhere, or you were just there straight?
Oh yeah.
3 years?
Well, I mean, no. When I was there, we got sent to Iraq for 18 months.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we went from, I think when we left, and we left in June of 2005 and came back January 2007.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So then you go from -30 to 150.
50,
yeah. No, man, it was insane. I remember one story in particular where we're leaving Alaska. It's in June, so it's not too cold, right?
Right.
It's not too hot either. So we're probably like in the 50s, and we get over to into Kuwait. And middle of the day, summertime, and we're like, man, can we turn off these turbines? And they're like, because we're thinking it's coming from the plane, and they're like, the plane's not even on, and we're like, oh my god, this is gonna be, I think it was like 120 that day. Like it was, we knew it was gonna be something fun.
And you have all your gear and everything, man. What a transition!
Oh yeah, we got everything on us. We're like, yeah, this is gonna be. I mean, when we got in the theater, when we was actually in Iraq. It got up to a point where like there's some patrols that we're moving on. It's 136 degrees outside. So and you're going door to door, checking home. You know what I mean? You're doing this all day. So yeah, it got fun.
Well, I've had a couple of Cody's friends who they obviously were in Afghanistan. They just said the sand and the wind and is just. You can't even compare it to anything you ever dealt with here. Like there's nothing comparable. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much of it too. You know what I mean? It gets brutal.
So I know. So you've been to Alaska. We just heard Iraq. Where else? Or did you spend time?
Yeah, I did Alaska, Germany, Iraq, Afghanistan for the primary of it.
Okay, man. So you got when the Army tells you get to travel the world, you actually got to do that a little bit. Maybe not the way you want to, but
you ain't got to carry a passport. I know it's a stupid question, but you don't got to carry a passport, though, do you?
No, I mean when you're active duty, your military ID usually primarily works for everything.
That's a question I always had.
Yeah, military ID and your orders. Your orders saying, hey, you're permitted to go in here. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for your 10 years. Nino, what would you say is your greatest reward from your service? What do you take away as your greatest reward during your time serving?
Oh man.
Other than landing in Houston and meeting us. You can't use that one.
I mean, no, okay. Outside of that, then I think honestly, like not not losing a life, right? Like not being a squad leader, taking people to war, taking people to combat, and not having to like have one lose somebody. You know what I mean? Like I always show love, big love for those who have to deal with that, that survivor's guilt.
Right.
But I don't know, like for me, like being when I was a squad leader, you're pretty much a father figure.
Right.
So being able to like lead these men into combat and like not lose a life probably is my greatest reward, like in my military service, without a doubt.
Dude, that is so awesome. And I know through, more things we're going to talk about, you've definitely talked to a lot of those people. So that would be, I think that's definitely something that's perspective, right? We wouldn't understand it, but you doing what you did, it's fully an understanding.
I think a couple podcasts ago we had Jack Griffith in, and he's running for the 10th seat for the congressional.
It's actually he's moving to the 4th now. I just texted with him last night.
Well, the 4th, so he's moving up.
Yep.
Excuse me.
No.
And that was one of his things, was he had lost quite a bit of his I don't want to say regime
squad,
but his squad. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that was that you could tell that it weighed on him.
And it's kind of interesting. Yeah. You both went through almost the I don't know the vehicle that he was in, but I read the vehicle that you were in, and you actually just talked about it. But that kind of leads us to we talked about you were injured, right? So do you mind sharing that story real quick?
Oh yeah, of course. Let's see. We were on a patrol. We were doing security for the Navy Seabees as they put these barriers in, because we're trying to control traffic there, and try to like funnel traffic in through a certain route.
Right.
And as we're putting these barriers in, we're pulling the security for them, and there we get a call saying, at the beginning where they putting these barriers in, they were setting them on fire and stuff like that. And they're called HESCO barriers. So it wasn't like cement barriers. It's like HESCO barriers. It's more like a fabric type with a bunch of sand put in them.
So you're setting them and they're burning them.
Yeah, facts, right? So the CVs are setting them. And so we take off to go down there. We're the quick reaction force, the QRF, and they're like, hey, they're doing this. So we take off down there, and I'm the squad leader for the lead vehicle. And I'm on the radio, and I'm like, yo, sir, hey, we're leading down here. And apparently a lot of the stuff towards the back end of it, I don't remember that well. But from what my LT tells me, that I called on the radio and I said, hey, don't be surprised if there's like an ambush or something over here. And we went across this bridge, this little bridge that covers the ravine, or a wadi, we call them over there. And it had a IED underneath the bridge, 400 pound IED, and it hit right below my feet, and took the striker out.
Wow.
So I thought I was underneath the striker. They thought I was crushed, but it had just my leg. I crushed my right leg. And so I have like 2 metal plates now with 18 pins in there for a fibula. I had a traumatic brain injury. Broken shoulder, broken ribs, stuff like that. But no one was, I was the worst injury out of the squad, which I thank God to this day. But yeah, I was the worst injury. I had a couple soldiers. One of them broke his nose. One busted his elbow. But everybody, was good. Was able to continue mission.
Yeah, thank God you all lived. I mean, that's.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, on your salute to service, on that whole thing, it was interesting reading all the things you've been told, and I know you've had some posts where you were told you'll never walk again, you'll never work again, and that's what makes this today talking to you so much more special. You went through that experience, you were told these things, and to see what you've done with it and what you've shown, and then the things you're doing to give back, dude, just so much appreciation for you, so much adoration for you. There's so many different words I could use. So that's awesome.
No. I appreciate it. I honestly, I think like as I've gotten along the way, and you're able to like remember, like there's a lot of doubt that comes along with this stuff too, especially when you get to really, you know, breaking generational chains and and begin to be more than what people expect you to be. I think a lot of, especially as veterans, man, we think that you think that when you're in, that you're just going to get out and everybody's going to be clapping for you and cheering for you and just being your biggest fan.
Right.
But man, hey, these people got lives too,
Right.
And so, they're not, you can't get, caught up in the whole, these people ain't clapping for me no more, I'm not going to make it. I think those are those times when you got to grind harder and keep going and just have faith that, you're going to get to where you want to go in life after being out of the military, after dedicating so much time to the cause, right? So, just keep going. And like, no matter, if someone's doubting you and telling you you can't do it, you're not going to be able to do this. Hey, man, hey, skip all that. Keep going, right? And, and I think that me sharing my story and kind of like the level of shit you go through along the way, I hope I can inspire somebody else and be like, hey, man, we're not out of the fight. The terrain looks a little bit different, but hey, we got this. Let's keep going,
That's truly awesome. So I hope people, it's posted on our Facebook and our Instagram, I believe. Take the time to read Nino's story and you'll understand this conversation even more and why we wanted him on. Nino, we've actually, we talked to Jack who went through almost the same experience. I mean, I think his vehicle was hit by an IED and he went through a lot of the things that you've went through. So you're both inspiring to us.
Yeah,
and it's,
for sure.
It's pretty awesome.
It's kind of one of the reasons why we did, not necessarily that, but we're focused on the, I don't want to just put Wounded Warrior, the VA. Like we want to shed light on the stories of people, and it doesn't matter. It's the where you started to where you are now. It's the I get emotional about this stuff, man. I'm like, no, seriously, because excuse me, it's the story of where you came from, what you went through, and where you're at now. And it's the disconnect of the people. Like you said, people aren't there cheering you on and rah rah. Ain't nobody give a shit about your story until you do it.
Yeah,
they're not gonna clap. They're not gonna push you. They're not gonna support you until you already do it. And for you to be where you're at now, dude, the Salute to Service Award nominee. I gotta say it. I mean, I'm sorry, Mike. I just gotta say. I mean, dude, that is such. I guess that's my thing is. Dude, and you laugh because I know you. Oh man, I don't want to hear about. See exactly. Like, just take the compliments because you've done it, bro. We'll be your rah rah. I'll sit out there in a freaking a damn skirt and pom poms. I already got a tutu.
And he's a Niners fan too.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, dude, no. The thing is, I grew up as a Niner fan, but no. So I mean, let's just backtrack real quick. Nino Gray, dude, community engagement manager for the Seattle Seahawks. Okay. That's awesome in itself. You go out, basically you, and I don't mean you just rah, but you bring groups together. You bring groups in the community of Seattle, veterans, different clubs, I would say. Military clubs.
Yeah. He's the community. So you mainly, your job is that engagement between the military, the veterans, and the team, right?
Yeah. Pretty much. I'm the liaison between the Seahawks and our local military community.
Okay, that's beautiful. Just and again, I'm gonna keep touching back to the article. I mean, you see some great pictures of Nino doing some
out there picking
things.
Up garbage with his kids.
Yeah.
Or handing out lunches.
And let's talk to that for a second because we, Eric and I are both dads. We had. I don't know if you remember Derek Ross, the owner of Pizza Factory. We had him on last week, and there's certain guys where we look at, who does dadding well.
Yeah.
And we all look back and say, okay, am I doing a good job? And I think everything you're doing, like you're living the life that you didn't necessarily have, right? From what I read. And you're giving your kids that whole angle that you never saw. So you didn't have a mentor to get you through it. You're doing it the way you want to do it, which is awesome. And them being involved in everything you're doing and being able to not only do your job, but have your kids be involved with, you know, as you said in the article, your two passions, right? The military and you know, family and, well, maybe.
Yeah. And you know, like the one thing I appreciate how you put it, Mike, and I appreciate the love, but I don't ever want to get it like, I want to make sure I don't put out the misinterpretation like all this stuff just, you know, came easy and there's not heavy lessons learned along the way, you know? Oh man, if I be honest, I had to bump my head all along the way and realize and like, all right, don't go that way. You know what I mean? There's not no one there. Like there is no guide saying, hey, you know, this is don't do this or don't do that or do this and do that. Like, you know, I had to like learn.
Right.
And so like I appreciate the love, man. I mean, but there's a lot of learning lessons along the way, and I'm trying to, you know, because especially as dads, you know, especially when you're trying to be a good dad, and you necessarily didn't have the greatest of upbringing, you're always sitting there going, am I doing this right? Oh. Am I doing enough?
Even when you have that, you still question it. And then, and Nino, I'll fill you in. Enjoy these times because the adult part of being a parent, oh man,
assholes.
The lessons literally don't stop. The punches literally don't stop. It's you think you did everything right, and then your kid takes a right angle and does something else. And not to say any of my kids are bad; they're all great.
No, for sure.
But I think. Sorry, go ahead, Nino. Go ahead.
No. I think as long as you know you're giving it the best that you got, right? Like for what you know on the board, and you're giving it everything you got. That's where you get the peace of mind on the back end. Right. No matter how they go on with their life after that fact, the fact that you know, hey, I've given this everything I could sleep well at night because of this.
I think, you know what I mean? To jump on that comment too is there's the fact that you allowed your kids to become this person. It may not be what you want for them, but in their mind, you've given them those tools to be able to create what they think they want. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, for sure.
You're like, okay, I listen, I can instill a certain amount into you, and then you have to go out. So like I've always said, like, I'm not my friend's kid. I'm not my kids' friends. I'm their dad. And if I have to be the asshole, if I got to be the asshole, I'll be the asshole because I don't want them to be soft.
Right.
Oh man.
Brooklyn moved out. It killed me. And I tell every time I talk to her, I go, dude, bedroom's still there. Yeah, you can move in. Yeah. She caught an Allen wrench in her tire day before yesterday. She's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, well, that wouldn't happen if you still lived at home. You know, that wouldn't happen. You know, you wouldn't have been driving down that road because you don't live over there. Now you live over there. That's going to happen.
But the cool thing though is that Brooklyn now gets to go out and live life,
dude,
and know that look, I can go home whenever I need to. So let me just live life now. You know what I mean?
And that's what Mike was touching on, and that's why I never tell an adult man what to do, but enjoy this time, man, because you know, like we said, 9 years ago you were here, right? Who knows what's going to happen in another 9 years? And real quick, we were talking, and there's a quote that I came across, and it says, "Hard times create strong men." And strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, right? And then weak men create hard times. So it's that everlasting circle of just, you know, if it's an easy time, man, you're going to be soft. Your hard times create tough men.
That's true.
It's like, and you know, obviously, again, we appreciate the time that you've given it to us to be able to talk to you and to go back in your past and learn where you came from and where you are now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's always great. I love being able to talk to you guys and be able to share stories. I think this is where people learn, like, man, life lessons, right?
Yeah,
if we can be more upfront with sharing our lessons in life, I think we'd all be in a happier place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So social media puts this, you know, messes a lot of people up because it lets them think that people start comparing their life to somebody else's highlight tape.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You don't see people posting about their bad times.
Yeah, nobody's posting.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there are some people, there are those people that post every 2 minutes of their life, but for the most part, people post what they want you to see, right?
I don't post all my 2 minutes. I mean,
I'm not saying you.
I post a bit.
You're just a troll.
I have had to delete a lot of messages being off for 8 days with COVID, man. There was a lot of shit that I wanted to stir, but Shauna took my spoon from me. She told me, she goes, charge your phone. I'm taking the charger. When your phone's dead, you're done. I'm like, man, that's brutal.
Oh,
yeah. If you ever get a chance to watch him, there's things he'll say, and you're just like, all right, I know he's trolling right now.
Oh, for sure. I jumped Mike's question. Mike is a great interviewer, right?
No,
and he kind of systematically sets this thing in motion. I had to get, because I was so excited. Real quick, transitioning from military. I know we should have placed this before the
Well, I didn't realize Hughson was his first stop in really civilian life.
So we kind of covered that. See, again, Mike's the better interviewer than me. I'm just a fly-by guy. I'm just here for the jokes, bro. I'm just here for the jokes.
Just let the conversation roll. We got this.
Exactly.
So how did you get started with Seattle, though? I know you wanted to always go back to Seattle, right?
I mean, honestly, I came back to Seattle because of my wife at the time wanted to be closer to home, and you guys know I was always gone. I was always on this veteran service mission.
Yeah.
And so she didn't really have that support, so it led us back to Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the veterans support. So what was, you got into Hughson. Is that when you joined, I don't know if you joined Wounded Warrior. I know while you were here, I know you were doing something with Wounded Warrior, I believe. But was that the first project that you kind of jumped into, or did you just transition from project to project until you found where you wanted to be?
Yeah, it's crazy because Wounded Warrior Project kind of like started this whole passion for me, right? Because right after I got hurt, I was at Walter Reed Medical Center for a few months. And when I came to, when I came to again, I had a outreach person from Wounded Warrior Project there, and she gave me a backpack. And I mean, when you get over there, you really ain't got nothing anyway, and so she gave me this backpack, had some clothes in it and stuff like that. And I just remember how I felt when that backpack was given to me. And I remember my mom was there, and I looked back at my mom and I was like, all I want to do is help veterans. Like, all I want to do is help soldiers, because awesome. Like getting that backpack, and I mean, it was a simple backpack, right? But for me, it meant so much more. The way I felt, I don't think I've ever felt like that before in my life. And so that's what kind of really started this whole mission. So once I went through my healing process and I finally retired out, Wounded Warrior Project was the only job I wanted to do. I didn't think about anything else outside of Wounded Warrior Project. And so I covered Northern California and Northern Nevada. So, I mean, yeah, we were just doing missions all the time in Fresno and the Bay and Sacramento, and then going into Reno, Nevada. And that was just a constant, just trying to make sure veterans and service members were just still actively being involved in what we were doing,
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
It was, as soon as he said Walter Reed, I'm like, oh, I have this infatuation with Bethesda, Maryland. I don't know why. It just pops in my brain every time I hear Walter Reed. That's where
but you hear everybody, all the major injuries.
Bethesda
is Walter Reed.
Yeah.
Walter Reed is the hospital. That thing must be huge. I've never seen pictures other than our servicemen and women in the hospital. So what was the work environment like with Wounded Warrior? Were you more on an island, or did you work with a team?
I mean, it was a little bit of both. I mean, we had there was other people that were there. We had Jeremiah Pauly, who did a lot of the Warriors Speak. So he would, if we needed someone, the great thing about Jeremiah is he could really tell his story better than anybody I've ever seen. Tell his story. So, he was always speaking at different engagements, and then when we'd have an event, have him come out and share his story. We had Mike Barrett, who did a lot of the mental health stuff. So there was different support there. Now, as far as outreach goes, that was primarily myself. And I always had like people, like friends or other brothers and sisters who were military in those other communities, like in Fresno and Sacramento. And we had different, like we call them peer mentors, where it's people who went through like the training to help out each other. And so we would use them to like help us create events. And so, you know, you had assistance when you really needed it, but for the most part, you're out there, boom, 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 making events because you know, especially, you know, you got to realize that, you know, you're losing 22 veterans a day, right? So, you know, you got to create events. Like I can just go out there and create events. Say, hey, come talk to a person. You know what I mean? How many people are going to try to, you know, if a veteran's in his room, or in her room, or you know, in their room, and they have, you know, that pistol's locked and loaded, and they're ready to go, and they just happen to see this Wounded Warrior Project event going on. They just happen to check this random email, right? Yeah. And they see where, you know, we're having block parties in Fresno, or we're going to Sacramento Kings game and we're going to have a suite, or we're going whitewater rafting in Truckee and something like that. You know, these experiences are going to get you out of this room, right? And if I can get you out of the room and get you over to the event, boom, now I can get my energy and I can get you into, like, you know, connected with some people that's going to help you now. You don't have to do this shit alone no more. I'm going to make sure of that. So, you know what I mean? That was kind of like the mindset. And probably, honestly, it probably still is, but where you're just constantly going, you just never stop moving now.
So I have a quick question that's you know, just off the wall on this. What did it, man? You have this attitude, right? You have this never stop. You know, you're gonna keep going, grinding. When you're having some of these conversations with these guys, you know, and they're at the bottom. Man, what keeps you going? What keeps you trying to lift them up? Because I can imagine you've had some really hard conversations. Because, you know, Eric and I, one of the things, part of our podcast is, you know, we're all over the place, to be honest. But one of our features is around our veterans, because I think we both share, you know, a lot of love for our country, for our servicemen and women. We both had military family, you know, people in the military with our families. I mean, I lost my dad right around the time you were here.
And then my dad, he got he ended his life. And so he couldn't handle.
Sorry to hear that, brother.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing, and I don't really talk about it very much, or I don't talk about it as much as I should. But it's that's why we're doing this, is to bring awareness, different aspects of Wounded Warrior and veterans.
And we want to grind with other things so we can, because that's, you know, and that's why I want to stay close to you now, because you have these channels that you're working with. But one of my things is I want to go get some of these guys that are on the street, you know, and show them. I mean, we learned so much with my dad, all the programs that are out there. We learned a lot just talking to you. You know, when you introduced us to Wounded Warrior Project, you know, we've seen a lot of this. So our goal is want to give back and show. I mean, of course, you know, and I know that some of these guys, that either they just chose not to have the help or they don't care anymore. And sometimes you can't get past that wall. But with you, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Sorry, me to step on you. Go ahead.
No, and that's why I was saying, man, I can imagine the things you've heard, and I know they got to, you know, there's things that have got to bring you down, but you just stay positive and keep the grind and know what your mission is of, I'm here for a reason, right? I'm here right now talking to this guy or girl for this reason. Yeah. So it's it'd be interesting to hear what you think during that process.
Yeah. I mean, when you get those conversations, the one thing that I do is I always just share my own struggles, right? Like, because like I say, you know, people can see, oh, he's doing this and he's doing this and he's with the Seahawks and all this stuff. And they think that you just, boom, just miraculously popped up over here because you're veteran service. Like, I wish it was that easy. I share my wounds. I share the times I bumped my head. I share my low moments, right? Yeah. Because I want you to understand that a lot of times when you're going through these mental battles, you personalize it. You think that it's only you that's going through this shit, right? So boom, if you see myself, who in your eyes is doing so well, all right, boom, let's sit down. Let me show you how I had to learn and how I had to get through these hairy moments myself. You know what I mean? Because if you're looking at me at that light, you're going, all right, if he can do it, then I know I can do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's what I kind of do, is just trying to share my own injuries, share my own journey, and be like, look, man, if I'm getting through this, I promise you, you can. Just don't quit. Keep going. Get going. And you know, just start loving you. Start loving yourself. You know, it all starts there.
I want you to answer this question. So
Okay.
as Eric Mello comes in and says, "Hey man, you know, I'm here." Excuse me, I'm here for you. Yeah, I got this. You're gonna look at me like I don't know what you're going through, huh? Like you're gonna look at me like, oh, if I'm here for you, hey man, I'm here for you. You know, I'm not gonna bullshit you. I don't know what you're going through, but if you need to talk, does that bring any merit to it? Does that bring?
Yeah.
Is it someone? Hey man, help me.
The fact that someone appreciates you enough to not know your story, but is willing to sit down and give you an ear and maybe another view of understanding that's everything.
See, that's why we're doing this shit.
Yep.
That's why we're doing this.
And like now more than ever, now I feel like more than ever is the time to focus on your veteran family, right? Yeah. You know, whether it's your dad, your uncle, your brother, your sister, someone you served with, because now there's no more combat going on, right? There's nowhere we can run to and go off and let off some steam and not have to think about all the things we're dealing with, right? Because we used to be able to run to tours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now we can't run to that. Now,
that adrenaline.
And then now and then now you add COVID and people are locked in their houses, and man, people are fighting demons during this time.
Yeah, it's
know what I mean?
All-time lows.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's ever a time to be looking out for each other, this is it.
Yeah.
No, that's
man,
that's definitely perspective again right there.
Goosebumps.
Yeah. Wow. And you know that whole thought process goes, you know, I didn't serve, but I mean even my little 10 days in the hospital with COVID, thinking I'm gonna die near the end, you know, that it changes how you think and
you'll be surprised the ripple effect that one person can make when all they do is just genuinely give a fuck.
Yeah.
Just genuinely care about whatever it is you're doing, whoever you're talking to, just genuinely care and watch that ripple. Watch that person. That person will evolve. That person will go out there and help another person. And you know what I mean? Just from your simple just caring that one day or that time, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
Dude.
That's why we love you, man.
Man, I tell you, dude.
That's just put it all and put it all.
Love it, man.
Put it all out there and made it real.
For sure.
So kind of taking a step back, you know, we know you're the community engagement manager for the Seahawks. So how did you end up with the Seahawks?
I was in between. So I ended up leaving Wounded Warrior Project and going and doing this with Tri-West, doing this peer-to-peer mentor program, right? Mm-hmm. And then I did that for about a year. I just took a step back. I was kind of in between jobs. I didn't know what I wanted to do because, you know, the veteran service, you kind of hit on it earlier. It weighs on you sometimes, right? It weighs on you a lot because there's so many people to support, and you're always wondering if you're doing enough.
Right.
And so I really, you know, I hit compassion fatigue. I got tired. I really didn't have it in me anymore to do it as effective as I wanted to do it. So I started going back to school. And coincidentally, like right where I was going to school was the Seahawks training camp headquarters.
Nice.
And so, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm watching them. It was a playoff game. I believe they were going against the Cowboys that day. And I started like, man, I wonder if they got any jobs available. And so I looked on there, and I mean, they had a security guard position, and I'm like, hey, man, like, it doesn't do with it doesn't have to do anything with military. It has to do all about security, and I know security, you know, pretty damn well, right? You know what I mean? So it seemed like, you know, very, very something I could fit into. And so I got picked up as a security guard. And that's kind of how I got started with the Seahawks, was doing security.
Man, see, again, you started from nothing. And I'm not saying security's nothing, so please nobody get mad at me.
Dude, he would have been rubbing up footballs if they could.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. That's somebody understanding that of his worth to what he can do, right? Hey, I'll start here, but I'm gonna get here, right?
Yeah, and for me, being able to work within like the facilities are the equipment staff, like, you know what I mean? Just doing simple stuff like that around football was going to be enough for me. I love football. I've played it my entire life. So this is something that I felt like I was just going to be, you know, and then the people there are amazing. I'll tell you right now, like, I don't think I've ever been part of an organization with just that many people who are just amazing and just hungry. Like
is it the organization or is it that area of the States?
No, I think honestly, I grew up watching Pete Carroll. I think it's Pete Carroll.
Dude,
I think
Pete Carroll.
Oh my gosh, look at the smile on my the SC guy.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I could go so far with you, you know, and I know you're an SC guy too, so like that's why we get along.
Oh boy.
But I mean,
you know,
to have that dream come true, I'm sure, you know, I've got to meet him. My son got it, you know, Cody got a hug from him back in the day.
Yeah, man.
So
I mean, that energy he brought in, and then, you know, Russ carries it. The football team has it. I mean, even when we're on the third floor, you hear those guys down there just throwing weights, and, you know what I mean, and being you know, loud and proud, and, you know, I think that energy goes up and goes up to the third floor, and people are, you know, wanting to win. You know what I mean? Like, the people are wanting to, like, they're not doing it just oh, I have a job here. No, they're in it to win it, and that energy is all through the building. And so I think just to be a part of that organization was a blessing in itself, whether it was security, whether I was doing maintenance service, whatever I was doing, I was just blessed to be a part of that organization. And then a veterans position opened up, doing something a lot similar to what, you know, I was doing with Wounded Warrior Project and Tri-West. And the folks from security were like, man, you need to put in for this. Like, we know your resume, yada, 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 put in for this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, like, I'm still burnt out, right? I'm like, nah, I don't have it in me. I know this. And so they kind of let it go. And then, like, they had a meeting, and they were doing a meeting because we had training camp coming out. So we're going over, like, security detail. And the two supervisors, the manager sat me down again, was like, hey, we want you to put in for this. And so I'm like, all right, I'll think about it. I went home that night, kind of like just really prayed about it. And in the morning, I felt good about it. So I put my name in the hat, went through the whole interview process, and I went against some hell of a candidates too. So even myself, you know what I mean? At myself, I'm not as confident, you know what I mean? I'm going up against, like, executive directors for different nonprofits in the local area who I know are making impact, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm just Nino Gray. I'm a cat doing security right
you're
now.
real.
You know what I
mean, the thing
you know?
is you got to look back and say you're real. You've lived every aspect of this. So when you know, if I was the Seahawks and I was looking at it, do I want an executive who maybe's not lived the life, or do I want the guy who's lived it? He's been about it. He's gotten through all these different things, and you know, I could imagine why they picked you.
And honestly, for the life of me, I mean, it's like I didn't expect it, but I expected it, right? Like, where I didn't expect it, because, like, even when, like, I'm doing security, so I know who's coming in the gate. I know I'm man, as soon as the people check in, I'm Googling people, like, look what my competition is. Like, oh man, these people are, like, they're out there, you know, they're doing big things for the veteran community, you know, right? You know what I mean? So I'm like, hey, by all means, let the better person win, if that's what it is. But once I got, you know, the call saying, you know, we picked you, you know, I was driving when I got the call, and when I got off the phone, I just thought to myself, like, wow, like, all right, well, I know who I was going up against. So for me to make it to this position, what am I just going to sit here and do the same events we see every year the NFL do, or we going to push the needle a little bit? You know what I mean? And honestly, God gave me the support team within the organization to really let me be Nino and really push to really represent the military, you know?
Wow. So is that where Task Force 12 came? I mean, obviously we understand where the 12 comes from.
12.
You know, it's crazy how it all came together, because we just went into quarantine. On the personal side, just, you know, started going through this divorce process, right? And life wasn't at the greatest of sights at this point, right? And so, you're going through life, and you're getting better with your faith, and you're learning more about yourself, and it was a very growing opportunity. So I started really thinking in the thought, all right, what do we want to do here? And we got all these amazing nonprofit organizations in the community. What can we do here? What is this? And we have these amazing, but we have all these amazing corporations and organizations that we work with the Seahawks who want to put into the veteran community, but just not know how, right? And so I was like, well, why don't we do that filtering process, vet these organizations, get a team of them already on with deep relationships with. So when these corporations or these organizations come together, they're like, hey, yo, we want to invest in the military community. We want to focus on homeless veterans. You know what? I got just the perfect organization for you. Hey, we want to focus on veterans within the LGBTQ community. I got just the organization for you. When we want to help veterans go on more fishing trips, I got an organization for you. So it just really, in a sense, we created this family, this community. And for me, technically, I just plug in the resources. I'm the plug. I have resources here, and I plug with this veteran organization because I know enough about the nonprofit and how that operates.
Right.
And I understand enough of the organizations and the tax write-off benefits that come with donating to these organizations. So be that middleman, and also give these people who are donating these funds, give them the peace of mind to let them know that, hey, your dollar is going to go to the right place. And it's going to create a lot of impact. We're going to put your name on it. We're going to plug in your organization and their organization, whatever we put out. And we're knocking out two things at one time. We're supporting both sides, and they're both benefiting from it.
That's so awesome because of your knowledge. See, I mean, that's exactly why you're picked. You have the knowledge to go behind. It doesn't take somebody that leads a company, somebody who has actually been in the trenches pardon the pun, in so many ways.
No, for sure.
But I think that's where your benefit comes. And look what you've done already. I mean, just going through the articles and knowing the guy that came to the football field and what you had just gone through, and you were just starting with Wounded Warrior, and you kind of got us excited about it, and started to build our passion around it. So then I spent all those years from then on, working for the high school kids and trying to make things for the high school kids and athletes and all that. So
I mean, and it's that joy you get to feel giving back genuinely, right? Like,
absolutely.
You're like what I saw with you and Eric day one when I'm walking down that hill to come meet you guys, is that the passion's there, right? Like you can't replicate you can't give synthetic passion and expect the points back for it, right? It doesn't work that way in life,
Agreed.
So like you guys give it with such passion. It's that joy you feel from like genuinely giving back and just feeling like being able to make somebody else's day. You know what I mean? Like, man, like that's amazing. It's rewarding.
That's what I love hearing. So I don't know if you have to go soon, but I know we have at least one or two more questions possibly.
No, keep it going. I'm here for you.
You're open? All right, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want to keep you all day.
No. I mean, I got to get up and, I got to, get back to work. But no, I got you. Go ahead.
You got your bullies, and I got two Roddies sitting here fighting right next to us in our podcast studio here.
So I'm looking through the Salute to Service award on the NFL.com/salute to service /
Eric's good.
And I'm looking at all these names that are mentioned here. You're looking at, the Atlanta Falcons nominate Arthur Blank.
Yeah.
That's the owner.
It's the freaking owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're looking at Baker Mayfield for the Cleveland Browns.
Come on.
Jimmy Graham, tight end. You're looking at all these dudes and you're like, that's it. I don't want to say it's easy for them, but dude, you get down here, you start looking and it's like, hey, look, Seattle Seahawks.
Well, they have different resources. I mean, you think about it.
It's
not to take away from Nino.
No.
But he doesn't have the resources that Arthur Blank has.
George Kittle. I mean, it's amazing.
But to be honest, where the level that where I feel like the playing field is leveled is because of the support that I get with the Seahawks organization, right?
Dude, I am all for it, bro. I want to vote like 15 times. I want to. I mean, dude, like, I am pulling for you, bro.
I have a director, Becca Stout, who, man, I can't tell you how many times I go in there on the spur of the moment. I'm like, hey, this is what I got. This is the veterans that we're going to be helping. This is the message we're going to be putting out. And I might have like a 1 week deadline before I need to make this happen, right? And boom, she's always like, she's so supportive. You know what I mean?
That is
like has
awesome.
my back like 120%. And the organization, I mean, working with John Schneider and Tracy Snyder, you know what I mean? We're working with Chuck Arnold. Like, these people help you out so much. And they're just like, they're so passionate about the military community. For me, all I got to go out there is just make it happen, bring it back to them. They're like, all right, what do we need to do? And I get all the support I need to get. You know what I mean? We've been working with Jay Glazer and doing the emerging vets and players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool. That is cool.
And Nate Boyer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, and honestly, that event, you know, was a phone call with their local engagement manager, and next thing you know, we're putting it together, and we're on the actual Lumen field. And that's the type of support that we get from the organization, where, you know, that field was going to cost us. I forgot how much. I think I'm going to say $20,000. I want to say just around there. I could be off a little bit, but once we pitched it up, you know, it got over to, you know, our leadership, and as you know, they covered the cost. You know what I mean? And it didn't affect, so we were able to do that event for our military. Like, the amount of support that I get from the Seahawk organization, I think puts me on level playing field with anybody on that list. You know what I mean? Because
awesome.
You know, they love their military here, and it's just a blessing to be a part of.
Well, you know, you're still the facilitator, so give yourself a little bit of credit. But it does help to have the support, right?
Absolutely.
And you don't have, no matter what it comes down to, you still don't have the resources of an Arthur Blank. You know, when you're talking the very top of the organization. But
I promise you, the way you see me attack my events, you never feel like I felt that.
Oh, knowing the way we saw you, and after hearing your story, I wouldn't. I mean, I think we know you pretty well, even though we haven't seen you in years. I think we know the person you are and what you're about.
A guy like you we don't forget people like you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Hence why you were on the list to reach out to you.
Oh, yeah.
This.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I mean, just be able to share your story, share your journey, share your falls, share your you know, your award. Just be able to like tell people, man, that like, man, the fall doesn't describe you. You know what I mean? It's the get back up part that people love.
Yeah, and that's
like Eric just said though, people don't respect the climb back up until you get the success on the back end, right? Until you start winning. You know?
Yeah. We're finding the traction, man. You just slip and slip and slip, and then once you get traction, then everyone's like, "Oh man,
yeah, you know." It's
like well, yeah, but we spun wheels for X amount of time. You just as long as your wheels are spinning, man, just making sure it happens.
Keep going. Yeah, absolutely. Just keep going. Like,
it'll catch.
Yeah, even if you only take an inch, as long as you only get an inch that day, love that inch and be ready for the next day. Right, you're back at it. You know, enjoy the grind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know.
So, Nino, real quick, with the salute to service, we talked a lot to it. How did you find out about it? How did you find out that you were nominated?
Well, I mean, you know that there's only so many people doing stuff in the veteran community per organization. So you understand that you kind of got a shot at probably being nominated, right? And so the thing was like, I didn't want to be nominated, right? Or you want to go in to like win this thing. You want to go in there to really make a difference.
Nobody wants to be nominated. Everybody wants to win.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I get, maybe it's just I come from like a generation where we didn't get participation trophies, right?
No.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You have to win it, baby.
So yeah, you're in it to win it. But like so it's like no matter what I want, no, if I know the nomination's a big possibility, I don't want to just be nominated. What can I do to really be like, yo, he's really about that. He's really all in. You know what I mean? And so, they let me know, I got an email saying, hey, Nino, we're going to put you in for the nomination. And honestly, you know what I mean? I was blessed, you know what I mean? It lets me know that I'm like, okay, whatever I'm doing, I'm going in the right direction. If the organization has enough faith and confidence in me to put me in for this, to me, it's a sign that I'm not only going in the right way, but let's go harder now. Let's go even more. Let's get even grittier. Let's go deeper with this. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like the mentality. You know what I mean? And still today, you know what I mean? Like we did a salute to service game, and instead of just doing stuff for a game, I mean, we were knocking stuff out every week from from all through the month of salute to service month of November. So we're having mental health summits, you know what I mean? Where we're teaming up with emerging vets and players, and we're doing things like our salute to service game. We honored all of the women in the military. You know what I mean? That's everybody awesome. Everybody we had on the field that day or being honored that day was a woman service member in uniform. You know what I mean? Because, for me personally, we want to see like people to see that our military and its strength is so dynamic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We are coming from all walks of life to defend this country. Let's put that on display.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're from all genders, all ethnicities, all aspects, right? Let's make sure we promote that. So, we just honored women that entire day. And it was been amazing. It's good. Like, it seems minor maybe to some people, but the joy on those ladies' faces being recognized in those moments is the priceless part, the thing that you can never measure, right? Nice. And that's where we get the benefit, the blessing on the back end.
Well, and it's just them. It's just about them. So that's
for sure
amazing.
Absolutely. Just letting them be honored, let them feel that love, and that all came from doing emerging vets and players event with. We were doing a local huddle with them, and one of the women's service members, she's married to someone in the military, and she was always talking about how she has to constantly show and prove that she's the veteran that was overseas. She was the one in this war. She did these things too, not just her husband. And just hearing that and seeing her story and watching those emotions, I'm like, bam, let's make a change right here. Let's do something big. So, and not only we from that moment, we took her out to the game, put her in front of the camera, recognize her for her service, as well as other women veterans throughout the game as well. And we just celebrated our ladies who are serving in this military and giving it everything they got. Like, we want you to understand that we recognize you, we support you, we love you, and we're not just here just for the bells and whistles. We're here for the long haul,
That is awesome. Well, Nino, we need to start wrapping it up, but I will say, first off, I think we want to have a show about, just dadding, calling it dadding. And you're definitely going to be somebody that's on there, because like I think you can give another perspective to it. Yeah. So, I hope you'll be open to that, and joining us at another time.
No, absolutely.
We do, I want to recap. I mean, Nino Gray, he's a son, he's a father, father of 3. He's doing big things for our veterans, thanks to, well, maybe not thanks to, but due to what he went through, all the things he was told he couldn't do, and is all you've done is shown what you can do. And I'm hoping with the salute to service that we could be a little bit of sounding board, get some more attention to the things that you and the Seahawks are doing. Definitely appreciate it all. Sorry, Eric, I don't want to.
No, absolutely.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for being on with us. And if we can do anything in the small world that we've created out here, let us know, man.
Yeah.
Because
I'm glad you said that, because I'm gonna send you some Seahawks jerseys. Then I need you to start wearing those. I'll get you some Seahawks salute to service jerseys. I got you.
I would sport one. Yeah.
I'd probably wear that.
Okay.
I don't need none of that neon green shit though.
Tell them they're gonna need a lot of fabric though. Unfortunately.
Hey, just email me your sizes and I'll get to work.
Oh man,
dude, that's awesome. Yeah.
I'm gonna need a picture of you guys wearing this.
Absolutely.
We will wear it with pride. I mean,
absolutely.
I know Eric's probably struggled with it a little more.
You know what? It's football, man. You know what?
It's more than football. That's the
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I guess I shouldn't have said it like that.
I know what you meant though.
I mean, yeah, dude. I think I'm at that age now where it's football.
Yeah, it's not life.
What we're trying to do here is the bigger picture, and it's bringing awareness and spotlighting dudes and dudettes that do stuff outside their realm, where they're coming from, what they're the whole process. So Nino Gray, thank you, man.
No, absolutely. Pleasure's been all mine. I really appreciate y'all, and if I could be of any support for y'all, or you guys know anybody who could use some support, definitely reach out to me. We'll get them plugged in and keep going.
Well, and I think we're gonna want to do some things in the future, and maybe you'll be a good point of contact for helping us get going the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys want to come out to a game next season? I'll let you see how we do this military stuff firsthand, and on our game day stuff, and how we bring as many veterans we bring on the field and everything like that.
Yeah.
Podcast can go on the road,
dude. We're mobile.
Yeah, we're mobile on this podcast. We can record from anywhere, so that'd be absolutely cool to come join you for a day and just watch your day in a life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, keep in touch. I mean, we'll make it happen for sure.
All right. Nino, man, we so appreciate you.
Thank you, bro.
Have a great day. I don't know if Jaden will remember us, but tell him we said what's up, and love watching the family.
Absolutely. Hey, back to you guys and your family. Hey, happy New Year, and
absolutely,
let's get it.
Go do it, man. Thank you,
Thanks,
bro.
Nino.
All right, guys.
All right, bye.